Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
WMAL. 6 now on O'Connor and Company. It's our fourth hour here. If you've missed any of the show up until now, what's the matter with you? Seriously, what's going on? You can download our podcast so you won't miss anything. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to and get the podcast. Now, here's the important thing, Julie Gunlock. We're waiting moments from now when Hakeem Jeffries is done impressing Mika Brzezinski and George Stephanopoulos. The vote will begin in the House of Representatives, and the reconciliation package with all of the Trump-promised tax cuts will be enacted. And, well, as we just heard from Congressman Herodopoulos, there will be a reason for all those fireworks tomorrow. And I know all the critics of this bill, but the bottom line is, you don't pass this thing, taxes go up at the end of the year to the tune of a couple of thousand per family. You do pass this thing, and taxes go down to the tune of about $4,000 per family. That's like a $6,000 or $7,000 swing. That
sounds pretty good.
That's not nothing, and that's something to run on re-election for.
Yeah.
It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock and all of our co-hosts in the House of Representatives that we wait on for the vote. In the meantime, let's turn our sights to national security as KT McFarland, who is a former Deputy National Security Advisor, joins us now. KT, good morning. Thanks for joining us, and happy Independence Day to you.
Happy 249th. Isn't that cool?
Yes, it is. And I can't wait for 250. So we started the week here with two huge announcements. First of all, the Iran-Israel ceasefire seems to have held. Everyone said, it's not going to work. Nothing's going to happen. Remember when Trump said he's going to ask Israel to turn around in midair and not drop any more ordnance? And apparently they listened. What's next with Iran now? Because the ceasefire seems to be steady.
Well, it's up to Iran. Frankly, they've got to decide. My old boss and longtime mentor, Henry Kissinger, said, does Iran want to be a country or a cause? If it's a country, it wants peace and prosperity for its people. If it's a cause, it wants to destroy Israel and happy to be martyrs in order to do it. And so it's up to them what they want to do. And if they want to double down and say, okay, we're going to rebuild our nuclear program, we're trying to reconstitute our proxies, we're going to our life's ambition is not our own people and their welfare. It's going to be to kill Israelis and Jews. Okay, fine. We know where you live. We know where the sites are. We now know we have the bomb route. We'll just do it again. Go spend billions, recreate it. We'll just bomb it again. If they want peace and prosperity, as President Trump says, you know where I live. You know my number. Give me a call.
Well, a group that doesn't want peace and prosperity is Hamas, yet Israel has agreed to a ceasefire, and the news says that Hamas is serious about reaching a ceasefire, but they're still not clear on the release of the hostages. They say, we'll release 10 now, we'll release another 20 later, we'll release the bodies of those who died that we've been holding on to, but what does this mean for the hostages? When are all the hostages going to finally be released? I don't see that as part of the negotiation, and I'm probably missing something.
Well, it's the same as with Iran. I mean, Hamas has to decide, do they want to be martyrs for their cause? Because what they ought to be doing, if they have a brain left in their heads, is to take all of those hostages and feed them well, treat them nicely, and hope that they can buy their way out of destruction for themselves, because their alternative is, Trump has said 60 days. If they're not going to do it in 60 days, guess what happens is that you've seen what Trump will do, whether it's to, the Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, the Syrian air defense systems, certainly the Iranian nuclear facilities, as he'll just unleash Israel, and they're finished. So Hamas has to decide. Do they want it or not? Because Hamas now, they have nobody. They're in even a worse position than Iran, if you can imagine. Yeah. They have no outside support, right? Iran always wrote the checks. Iran has no money, no access. There's no way Hamas gets its weapon systems redelivered, resupplied, because the transit route was through Syria. Well, Syria is now talking to President Trump, and we're flipping Syria, so they're not interested in doing anything. And a number of the the Houthis have even said with regard to Iran, no, we believe in the Yemen first foreign policy, not the Iran first foreign policy. So Hamas is now isolated, no money, no friends, and it's got a 60-day timeline from a man who shows that he may not even wait 60 days.
Right.
Turning our sights to Asia, the president announced yesterday a trade deal with Vietnam. As you mentioned, your mentor, Henry Kissinger, back in the day, in the early to mid-'70s. I'd love for you to reflect on this historic agreement, and also beyond just where we were with Vietnam and where we are today under President Trump with Vietnam with this trade deal, what this means to China, because I would think that they are paying close attention to this.
China's a big loser in this. You know, all the stuff that we bought for years on Amazon that says made in China, increasingly it's made in Vietnam. And to have it at a trade agreement with Vietnam is going to put Vietnam in a position where it'll take a lot of that business away from China. And if China wants to hold out, if China's going to double down and you know, somehow not try to play cute with the United States, then I think, again, they're in a bad position. The great thing about the United States right now under President Trump, we've had all of these cards in our deck. We've had the military ability to do what we did with Iran. I mean, jaws dropped all around the world when people, leaders all in every capital saw that America could do this, and all of a sudden, whoa, nobody can come anywhere close to pulling that off. Yeah. And then we have the trade ability. Every country needs to sell their goods in the American market more than we need to buy their individual goods. Why? Because China's economy isn't growing. Europe's economy isn't growing. If you have something to sell, you've got to sell it in America. That gives us enormous leverage, trade leverage. We're going to win every trade war. Even the head of the guy who is one of the biggest Wall Street guys everybody listens to, he works for Apollo Management. He said for the last year, oh, Trump, he doesn't know what he's doing. The trade war is going to be terrible. He wrote a column last week saying Trump outsmarted all of us. He's winning the trade wars. And then when you see technology, we have the technology. We just have to protect it. So trade, technology, military capability, and then the big, bad, beautiful bill is going to get passed at some point, at which point the economy is going to take off like a rocket. Yeah. We are going to be the fastest growing economy in the modern world. And all those things, we had all those abilities before. Even sealing the border we could have done. We just needed a new president. And now we have a president who's using the full force of American power and capability to the advantage of the American people and, frankly, to the world.
Where do you celebrate Independence Day, KT?
Oh, I go to a parade. So I live in Southampton, New York, and it is like a 1950s parade where little kids put streamers in the spokes of their bicycles, the bands play, the fire engines all come out, all the Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I reenactors, they all show up in their uniforms. We have cannons that get dragged down Main Street that fire off. It is just the coolest thing in the world, and everybody wears red, white, and blue. So you're walking down Main Street, and every grandparent has a 2-year-old kid on their shoulders waving an American flag. It's just the happiest moment of the year.
Did you hear her voice just get so excited?
I know.
The thought of the parade. It sounds like, I mean, it sounds like the way you describe it, it sounds like Norman Rockwell just like ate too much food and exploded all over your downtown. This is very exciting. Well, enjoy your Independence Day, KT. We appreciate you joining us always.
You too.
It is 8:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Time for a quick critter news update, and it does not involve the rats on Capitol Hill who are scurrying right now as the vote is about to take place on the reconciliation package, or the foxes, for that matter, on Capitol Hill. What's the matter? You look sad.
This
Julie
is disgusting.
Gunlock.
This is disgusting.
What? This is a great idea. I am on board with this. This is going to make the greatest Amazon Prime series. Okay, here's what happens. The U.S. government has a great plan. They're going to breed billions of flies. All right? That's it. Step one, breed billions of flies.
I've seen this movie. It does not end well.
Then you fly over Mexico and start dumping the flies out of airplanes.
Why?
Oh, you may wonder why.
Are they trying to drive more people into the United States?
This is an important reason, actually, why. I should have led with this. The problem that they're trying to solve is a flesh-eating maggot. See, now it all makes sense.
Oh, my.
You don't want flesh-eating maggots. Although, don't all maggots eat flesh? It's just usually it's not human flesh.
They used to, in the medieval times, I thought they used them as, that and leeches.
Those were
I don't
leeks,
know about
yeah.
maggots.
But they anyway. Oh, we love maggot talk at 8:50. We are assuming everybody's already
God.
had their Cheerios.
Oh, look, Heather even put a picture of one in. How nice.
Of a flesh-eating maggot?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
There it is.
cute.
Close-up. How cute.
We'll go ahead and tweet that one out. Department of Agriculture plans to ramp
Where
up
did
the
she find
breeding
these things?
and distribution of adult male flies, sterilizing them with radiation before releasing them. I'm sorry. It just gets worse and worse.
It does.
So they're going to be radioactive, sterile flies who will then fly in and try to mitigate the flesh-eating maggot problem in Mexico and parts of South Texas. It sounds like the plot of a horror movie, but it is actually part of a government plan to protect us all. Don't worry, we're here from the government, and we're here to protect you from the flesh-eating maggot.
Yeah,
By the way, flesh-eating maggots, probably the government experiment with flies that we didn't report on 15 years ago. That's how we got the flesh-eating maggots in the first place.
Where's Fauci? This has Fauci all over it.
Edwin Burgess, an assistant professor at the University of Florida who studies parasites in animals and livestock, says it's an exceptionally good technology. Hey, what does your dad do? Well, I'll tell you. It's an all-time great in terms of translating science to solve some kind of large problem. All right, so what is
someone out there said that about COVID, too. Edwin.
The scientific name for this. So here's what happens. The USDA is very upset about a screwworm fly factory, which is going to be up and running in southern Mexico by July 2026, and it's going to open up a fly distribution center in southern Texas.
Why?
The whole reason is they have this parasite called Cochleamoya hominovirax.
You could have just stopped at parasite. They have a parasite. Go on.
Cochleamoya
Totally not necessary.
hominovirax.
Okay.
It's roughly translated man-eater. That's Latin for man-eater.
This is really gross.
And by the way, Hall & Oates tried to work that lyric out, and they decided, we can't figure out anything to rhyme with Cochleamoya, so let's just call the song Man-Eater. There they go. According to USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, the NWS fly larvae, that would be maggots, burrow into the flesh of a living animal. They cause serious, often deadly damage to the animal. NWS can infect livestock, pets, wildlife, occasionally birds, and in rare cases, people.
What?
So,
what?
People, yeah.
People.
People. I was just being silly. 1,000-pound bovine can be dead from this in 2 weeks, just literally eaten alive by these maggots. So I'm trying to get to the point in the article where the radioactive sterile male flies dumped by the billions out of airplanes somehow
I guess they eat them. I guess they will eat them?
I guess so. I don't know. But this is affecting livestock. It is a serious problem. And apparently the flies that breed the man-eating, flesh-eating maggots are migrating this way.
No, I think this has to do with, so you said they're
sterile.
They're sterile.
Right.
So I think maybe when these maggots turn into flies, they then mate with the sterile fly, so they're done mating.
Female flies only mate once in their adult lives.
Right, so the point is they're mating with a sterile fly.
But then nothing will breed.
Then nothing will breed.
Right.
Okay. So it's not that they eat them, because I was like, that's weird. Why would they eat? Okay.
Right. So the sterile flies still mate.
Yes.
They're shooting blanks.
They do this with they do this with malaria in some areas
with
of South
mosquitoes.
Africa. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
okay.
I'm not so frightened now.
So you think this is okay?
I think it's okay. It's gross, but it's okay.
All right, Julie's on board with it.
Well, I mean, I'm very pro cattle industry, and so it sounds like they need some real help here. So
absolutely, and currently this is affecting the cattle industry south of the border. In fact, it got so bad that they closed the southern border in May to any imports of live cattle and horses and bison.
Wow.
And it wouldn't be open again at least until mid-September, until they can get up a good inspection regime and they can be confident that the flesh-eating maggots aren't coming across into the U.S. It has infected certain bovine here in the United States in limited spaces, but they're trying to sort of stop it from becoming widespread, that it could be a huge problem. And so it seems like the solution is billions of radioactive sterile male flies dumped out of airplanes.
I'm okay with that. I've come around. Really, we started this story in a bad way. We should have started with cattle need help in Texas.
Right.
So yeah, that would have been better framing, in my opinion. Because starting with maggots.
Perhaps next time we do Critter News, you can set the story up, and I'll just sit back and make snide comments like you do.
I do have the best job. Seriously, it's great.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you're there. It's 8:23.
All right, it's been a few minutes. We got to check in with Hakeem Jeffries, see if he's still talking on the House floor. He's been talking for hours. We'll check in with him and some of the other hysterical Democrats who are claiming we're all going to die, and the status of the big, beautiful bill. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, it's 8:36, O'Connor and Company. 3.5 hours ago, we began our radio program, as we do every day at 5 a.m., Julie Gunlock. And we began by informing our faithful listeners at that time that there was an overnight session in the House of Representatives. There were a bunch of various votes on rules. Some of them were touch and go, didn't have enough Republicans, ended up getting enough Republicans, got the rule passed, went to debate. And then we said at 5:07, I said, Hakeem Jeffries is now speaking, and when he is done, Speaker of the House Johnson will speak, and then we'll have our vote. Well, let's have a quick listen to see what's going on in the House of Representatives now, 3.5 hours later.
And fight hard for the American people. The need to be
He's still
here
talking
throughout this entire toxic journey that Republicans have set us on. Connection with this one big ugly bill. Kevin Mullen coming off of multiple surgeries, rolled out of his hospital bed, got on a plane from Northern California, took his wife with him so that she could change his IV on the plane.
You know, I hate to tell you this, enough of him. That doesn't make you sound noble. It makes you sound like you're exploiting this poor man.
Yeah.
For a fruitful effort. It's going to pass. Republicans are going to vote for it. Honestly, every couple of minutes that he keeps talking, I think the Republican fortitude in voting for this should get strengthened and strengthened and strengthened. The man is a nightmare. He's so ineffective. But he's just trying to get attention. He's trying to out Cory Booker, which is something. And Joe and Mika are eating it up. CNN's eating it up. George Stephanopoulos is eating it up. And that's all that matters. That's the constituency. The bottom line is when he's done, this is going to pass.
Yes. And we have seen more drama. There's a lot of sort of these selfie videos, all these members. Gosh, the worst thing that ever came out was handing a member a phone and tell him to take a selfie video. But they've all been out there saying how put upon they are, how they have to stay up late, how they're tired. You know, welcome to the American public who've lived in this economy for how many years now? And we need a break. We need a break. And the idea that they would allow our taxes to go up is insane. People have no more money to give. None.
This is a tax bill. Bottom line, this is a tax cut that Donald Trump promised. He won going away in November. In fact, a lot of the tax cuts that he won on that are in this bill are things that Kamala Harris stole from him and put into her own package because they were such good ideas. And Democrats, basically, they're dying on this hill because they want to make sure that you have to pay as high taxes as possible. And the only thing that they've got going for them is they're claiming there's Medicaid cuts. No, there's means testing for Medicaid, which was there originally in the first place in Medicaid. If you tell the average American that a 30-year-old man without any illness, without any disability, without any injury, who is fully capable of working, is getting free health care on the taxpayer dollar, they will be ticked the hell off about that. When they tell you that millions of people will lose their health care, that's who they're talking about.
Yep.
They're talking about able-bodied men who could work. And by the way, you know what they're being asked to do, those young men who are getting their Medicaid right now? They're being asked to get a job and work 20 hours a week. And if they can't get a job and work 20 hours a week, they're asked to volunteer for 20 hours a week.
And let's not forget, this was something Bill Clinton thought of and proposed, and it was supported by some moderate Democrats and most Republicans back in the day. Thank God for Clinton coming up with this great idea that is just being pilloried by the Democrats. That is the Democrat Party, though. They
Thank God for Newt Gingrich coming up for the idea and Bill Clinton being politically savvy enough to know that he shouldn't oppose it. Let's just be accurate about that.
Fine.
Bill didn't come up with it on his own. That said, they're doing all these theatrics too. Oh, God, as an actual theater kid, can I just say the theater kids have got to go. All right, I'm done with this. Although, actually, what I did was way better because I was actually a professional. I actually worked in the industry and raised a family in the theater business. These theater kids who just sing karaoke at the local Denny's when they're back home and now think they can run the government. The Democrat Dr. Caucus.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
They put on their white lab coats and put stethoscopes around their necks and held a press conference. But even Hakeem Jeffries wouldn't allow them to do the press conference in the actual press room so that people could, reporters could hear what they were saying. And they could. So instead, they camped out in front of Speaker Johnson's office. This is the ceremonial office where tourists are buzzing by.
Right, it's like a rotunda, and you've got people going, yes, the sound, it's very hard to hear in there because of this very high ceiling.
So, yes, take a listen to the press. As they're trying to give their speech, there's all these people, with
walking by
doing the tour of the Capitol. Listen.
We are the Doctors Caucus, Democratic We have cared for the sickest patients in our communities. As physicians, we didn't care if someone was a Democrat or a Republican. In fact, that is never in our
It's amazing. It's just so sad. I wanted somebody to come up and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, I hate to interrupt you. Which way is the bathroom?"
Exactly. Well, at one point, a congressman walks by, and he's got a gaggle of reporters, and they all have their phones out, set on record, and they're taking like a recording of him, and they're asking him questions right in front of this press conference. So you've got press that doesn't give a whit about these doctors standing there doing a press conference.
Yes.
They just walk right by.
By the way, this caucus is led by, and this press conference was the brainchild of one Maxine Dexter of Oregon, right? Isn't she from Oregon?
Yeah, I thought she was supposed to be down south somewhere.
Well, yes. The last great idea she had was this one.
Congresswoman Maxine Dexter here, coming to you from El Salvador. I flew here last night with 3 of my colleagues to demand that Kilmaya Garcia be released.
There you go.
Being held in violation
this is just another great idea that she's had, and now we're going to do our press conference in the middle of a busy corridor as tourists are streaming by. They want to lead. They demand to be taken seriously. It's 8:43.
Thursday on the Derek Hunter Show, Diddy's not getting out of jail. No bail for Diddy, but Bill Clinton walks free. We'll talk about it 3 o'clock on WMAL.
Were you part of a clique in high school, Julie Gunlock?
I mean, it wasn't the popular clique, but...
Did you have frizzy hair? And did you talk like this?
And curled bangs.
Yes.
And
oh, my God. You're such a clique.
I did not sound that way. I did not sound that way, but
From forever now, from this point forward, you will have sounded that way. That is my Julie Gunlock in high school voice. Cliques. We were all in cliques, I'm sure. I guess, right? In the movie
sure.
Clueless, you were you all talk a certain way in your cliques in the 90s, which is fine and funny, and part of how you talk about little groups in high school, and you had your little tables for lunch, and band kids there, and the smart kids there, and the jocks there, and it's all your cliques. Here's the weird thing: the Associated Press described, and ABC News, excuse me. Or is it? It is Associated Press. It was just reprinted by ABC News. Had an article about MS-13 gang members in New York. The leader of an MS-13 clique in the suburbs of New York City faces sentencing Wednesday in a federal racketeering case involving 8 murders. So MS-13...
Boy, cliques have gotten rough.
It's an El Salvadoran gang known for wielding machetes and lopping off the heads of their rape victims.
Yes.
And the AP calls them a clique.
Okay, but apparently this is the thing. So everybody jumped all over AP saying, what are you doing? This is stupid.
Right.
Why would you call this a clique? Apparently it is the appropriate word. DOJ uses DHS uses this. So there's the big gang, right? And then within the gang, there are like regional gangs or, the city.
Sub-gangs.
Like this,
franchise.
the Alexandria chapter of MS-13 that goes by clique. So it is the actual appropriate. This is the thing, though. I feel like they don't have to use it. They could just say MS-13.
I'm sorry.
Gang.
How many stories have we seen about MS-13 over the last several decades? And have you ever seen them referred to as
Never.
a clique? A clique?
Never.
And this one time they do, at a time when the Justice Department is actually cracking down on these and finally actually trying to get these murderers. And I'm sorry, you soften the language. Honestly, I don't care if it's accurate.
Me too.
For the media to actually use this phrase and parrot this and say, actually they're called cliques, not gangs. They're gangs.
And of course, like the libertarians out there were like jumping all over if you guys really want to be taken seriously, don't jump on the accurate. Actually, this was
exactly.
Just drove me nuts. AP doesn't have to use the word that's official if it sounds ridiculous.
Exactly.
And calling MS-13 a clique sounds like something from Heathers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God, you guys. Let's go stabbing today. Oh, my God. Did you see the deal we got on fentanyl? It's so cheap today. A clique. So,
stupid.
And for the AP, the Associated Press, they're the worst. They really are the worst because, once again, like Jake Tapper, they pretend to be unbiased. They pretend they live in this cloak of objectivity. Listen, we are just using the accurate legal phrase that we use for a gang. They call it a clique.
These
really?
Are the same people. Hold on.
Last I checked, illegal alien is the appropriate legal phrase. In fact, the actual laws as written in the American judicial system says someone in this country illegally is an illegal alien. But last I checked, the AP bends over backwards to call them undocumented workers.
Yeah, and also, let's just give me a break with this, okay? They have no problem calling men women, okay? So give me a break with this. We just use the accurate terms. Well, actually, a person with a penis is not a woman, okay? If we could just get over these little, wordsmithing you're doing. So, pardon me if I don't take it so seriously.
We're in our final 30 seconds of the program, and you said penis.
I hope that's not illegal.
It's not illegal. It's just
okay,
a little
good.
jarring.
I don't want
to
get fined.
Sorry,
gosh. I was part of the potty mouth clique.
Now, I was going to say, I know what clique you were in high school. It's 8:53.
Whatever.